Austin.
Welcome to another Let's Talk Paranormal, and boy do we have a show for you today. Every single one of us has some kind of a story to share. But for my special studio guest today, Dr. Frank Stranges, he has a rather unique story to tell because during the 1950s, he claims to have met a man from Venus. Yes, you heard me correctly, a man from Venus named Val Thor. And guess what? It's all documented in this book, Stranger at the Pentagon. And in it, Dr. Frank tells us exactly who Val Thor is, why he's here, and there's even photographs to prove his existence. Dr. Frank, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Tracy.
This really is a real-life day the Earth stood still, isn't it?
Yes, plus. And here, coming toward me with his right hand outstretched, the man whose picture I've been carrying around with me for over a year.
Wow.
He said, "Hello, Frank, how are you?" And I thought, how in the Sam Hill does he know my name? And he knew from that time forward, the moment I touched his fingers, his skin was as soft as a baby.
Right.
And I did turn his hand over. He had no fingerprints on either hand, as bald as a peeled boiled egg. And I questioned him on that later, which he told me. And he asked me questions, just a few questions, but I asked him more questions. And he told me more about my own life than my parents and grandparents put together, which I verified later on. Mm-hmm. I said, "What is your name?" He said, "Valiant Thor."
There's something special about Val that, you know, you've already mentioned about having no fingerprints.
Yes.
He has no navel.
No, he has no navel and he has no fingerprints. This is why I believe he falls in the category of a created being, just like an angelic being. Mm-hmm. And he's unique in his way, believe you me. Mm-hmm. And the other members of his crew and the members of his staff, they all have navels.
Right. But being a created being, of course,
right.
He wouldn't.
But they don't have any fingerprints either.
Right.
Unique in that manner.
Wow. Let's take a look at the next picture and see what we have.
This is Commander Valiant Thor. That's exactly what he looked like when the photo was taken by Algid Roberts some years before, mm-hmm. and that's exactly what he looks like today. He hasn't changed one iota.
Val, just getting back to Val, where is he today?
Valiant Thor today is on board Victor 1, his spacecraft, not too far from the waterline of Lake Mead, Nevada, not too far from Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. He's there with his entire complement.
Right. And I believe that in your book you have a map of where to, where Lake Mead is.
The area, yes.
Right.
We also have a sketch of the interior of the ship.
Right. And is the ship underneath the waterbed? Is it on top?
It's right on the shoreline. Now, it's surrounded by a force field, and the only way you could possibly find that ship is if you look for a row of a circle of dead insects, but the wind would probably drive them away by the time you got there.
Right. So is there a depression there, sort of like a crop circle depression? Or?
You won't see it.
You wouldn't see it?
No, because it's heavy gravel.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, Dr. Frank, I have to thank you for coming on the show today.
My pleasure.
There have been still so many questions that we haven't been able to ask you today, but hopefully you'll come back.
I most certainly will.
And we'll ask you more.